I'm thrilled to be diving into some real-life tales of human behavior, as told by the wonderful community on Reddit. Tonight, we're going to explore the highs and lows of everyday interactions, and I'll be sharing some wild and wacky stories with you. Am I the butthole for deserting GF on trip I gifted her? My long-distance GF happened to be here while a band she loves played 4 hours away, so I surprised her with a trip to see them. I got train tickets and hotel, ensuring we stayed in the best part of town, and it was easy to get around. I told her a month ahead so we would have time to plan. I told her our schedule for arrival, day of the show, with times and places. The night before she brings up the plan, I repeat it to her. She immediately challenges it. That's not a plan. What trains are we taking? I knew we had many options and would just check Google on arrival. Nevertheless, she proceeds to look up all the things I had already researched, questioning my times because wrong sources say something else, and ruin the surprise that there is a second band. We had 4 hours from arrival to the venue opens. My plan was to drop off things at the hotel, go to venue area, eat, see show. She says she will need 1 hour to prepare at the hotel. I accept. She says she will be wearing a revealing outfit and doesn't want to be wearing it everywhere. When we arrive in the city, I step aside to look at Google, but she doesn't even let me look before she starts giving instructions on where to go. She's in a busy crowd talking in a low voice, so I can't make out what she's saying. I tell her to speak up. She says some track numbers. I go where there's a sign with the numbers, but it's wrong. She blames me for misunderstanding. We find a train and get to our station. She is still giving instructions I can't hear. I see an exit with a street name that I know is close to the hotel, and take it. She annoyedly says, "Why did you take this? It wasn't the right one." I'm like, how is it wrong? It's the right street. We'd be walking the same distance underground. She continues pointing out how other exits were more right as we walk past them. We get to the hotel room and sit down to cool off. I take off my pants, expecting her to start preparing soon, but let her have a moment to chill. After 45 minutes, she's shown no initiative. I ask if she's starting soon. No, she wants to get food. I ask why didn't she say this instead of just sitting here. She blames me for taking off my pants, like I couldn't simply put them on again. I say I thought we'd agreed to eat by the venue. According to her, not wanting to wear the outfit everywhere implied we wouldn't. So wearing the outfit on the way to the venue is fine, but making a stop on the way isn't. I just had enough. ID put together this sweet gift for her. ID made sure we had time to make a plan, and I've been flexible to accommodate her, and all I hear is complaining. I got my ticket, gave her the key, and said that she can do things her way and left. I walked around for a bit. I knew I was being dramatic and didn't want this situation. She calls me, but I don't pick up. After receiving some threatening texts from her, I went to the venue by myself. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Your soon-to-be ex sounds like a horror show. Soon-to-be XL. That would be best. I don't care how hot she is. The crazy aspect puts this gal solidly into a danger or no-go zone. Crazy is a bit rude and incorrect. Manipulative, gaslighting, always right. Sounds like her. Crazy is such an overused word to describe women. Call her like she is. A toxic girlfriend who thinks the world revolves around her. That doesn't make her crazy. That makes her intolerable. Personally, I feel like gaslighting has become a far more over and often incorrectly used word to describe men's behavior than crazy is to describe a woman's. But that may be a mileage may vary sort of thing. Either way, GF sounds like all take and no give, referring to a comedic display of the hot crazy matrix of girls. It's actually quite funny, meant to be stereotypically judgmental, but eerily accurate, and I'm female. YouTube just autoplayed in my head from this comment. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for missing my grandpa's funeral due to the cost? So my grandpa passed last year while I was backpacking in Asia. He's been in poor health for a while, so it wasn't necessarily unexpected, but it was sudden. I got a message from my mom when I woke up that he was in the hospital again, and that it wasn't looking good. I was on my way to work, so I asked her if I should be looking at flights to go home. At the end of my day, I got a message back, and she told me he was gone. They were planning the funeral to be a few weeks after in a different state than where we all now lived, and due to the cost it would be for me to fly from Asia to the US, to a state I don't live in. in cold weather where I was currently only had clothes and stuff for tropical weather, and then fly back to Asia. It was going to cost about 3 or more. With the job I was working, I was only making enough to get by and not to save up at all. And I was budget backpacking, so 3 is a lot of money for me. I got a bit of flack from my family when I told them I couldn't make it. I loved my grandpa, but he was already gone, so I didn't feel like it was worth the money to go back. My family even messaged me last minute that I could get a really cheap ticket if I buy last minute, and I had to explain to them that it took time for me to get off the island I was living in, so I wouldn't be able to make it in time, and that flights were now too expensive. I don't think it was fair they were giving me a hard time, especially when I knew one of my cousins wasn't attending either. And she was in the US, so it was much cheaper for her to go if she wanted to, and she was much better off financially than I am. My mom didn't talk to me during this time. We are not very close, but I was trying to be comforting, even though I'm not very good at that, and tried to respect her space since she was dealing with losing her dad. I've been thinking about this a lot lately and am worried about seeing my family when I go back home. I already feel so guilty for missing the funeral because I loved my grandpa, and I feel like I've not processed his death yet since I've been out of the country for so long. But I don't feel like it's fair for them to make me feel bad for it. Am I the butthole? And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for embarrassing my husband at dinner? So I got a new job, and my husband wanted to take me out to dinner to celebrate. I didn't want a fancy dinner, and literally said I'm okay to go to Shake Shack. He insisted he would take me to a fancy restaurant, and when I objected, he said we can't cancel now. Okay, fine. So we went and had a nice time, and then the bill came to over $300. I didn't realize that the waiter was still right behind me, and said OMG, it's so much. My husband right away felt so embarrassed, and didn't talk to me the rest of the night. I did apologize because I knew he was upset at me, but honestly, I didn't see the big deal. Not like they know us, or will see us again soon. Am I the butthole? And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for telling my girlfriend I wouldn't make her coffee anymore unless she stops micromanaging me? So, for context, I, 24 male, and my girlfriend, 23 female, have been together for about 2 years, living together for roughly 6 months. Normally, we have a good routine. I wake up first, make coffee, and she wakes up to a nice hot cup. Recently, though, she started getting really particular about how she wants it done. She insists on using this super specific method: measure the grounds to the exact gram, pre-warm the mug in the microwave for 30 seconds, add the milk at a certain temperature, and on and on. At first, I try to oblige because, hey, if she loves coffee that much, I want to make it nice for her. But it got to a point where every time I handed her a cup, she'd grill me. Did you weigh the grounds first? Did you warm the mug? Is this whole milk, or 2%? If anything was off, even by a tiny bit, she'd sigh and say it wasn't as good as the right way. One morning, she literally took the mug from me, dumped it down the sink, and started the process herself, while ranting that I never do it the right way. I got frustrated and told her, if you're going to be this picky, just make your own coffee. I'm done making something only to be told how it's wrong every time. She got upset and said I was overreacting, that she just wants her coffee a certain way, and that I should respect her preferences. I argued that I was respecting her preference, just didn't appreciate the constant criticism or micromanaging. She accused me of being lazy and unaccommodating. Now, I'm feeling guilty because I do want her to enjoy her morning coffee, but I'm also tired of feeling like I'm a barista under constant scrutiny. Am I the butthole for telling her she can just handle it herself until she stops micromanaging me? Or should I just suck it up and follow her super detailed instructions? And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for snapping at my sister for crushing some of my food? I have a sister who has been staying at my house for the past 3 days. She's on a weight loss journey and trying to recover from bed. She's doing well on this and I'm proud of her for that, but I didn't totally understand everything she's been doing. I came home from work yesterday to find a bag of chips and some expensive chocolate smashed in my garbage can. I told her she could eat whatever she would like. I'm not upset about myself not being able to enjoy these, but I'm upset that I spent money on them and nobody did. When I had asked her why she had done that, she told me she was either going to crush them or eat them, so it shouldn't matter because I wouldn't have gotten them anyway. She said she learned this in therapy as a better way to control herself around food and not use her body as a garbage can. I'm glad she's learning healthier habits and trying to get better. But I told her she either needs to pay me for the food she's wasting or to just suck it up and eat it because I won't be paying for her to waste food. She told me it wouldn't happen again and she apologized. I dropped the money talk. It wasn't that big of a loss, and she didn't know I would be so hurt by it. And then today, I come home from work and found a pack of ramen smashed. This time, she tried to hide it in her bag, but she ended up spilling it all over the floor next time she got into it. She immediately apologized and started to clean it up. But I had enough already. I told her she has to be out of my house tomorrow. She started crying and told me ramen is so cheap, I shouldn't even be worried about it. But to me, it's the blatant disrespect of coming into my home and destroying the food that I bought with my own money. That was 3 hours ago, and we haven't spoke since. I'm starting to feel like I overreacted, but I'm not sure if this is the case. Any insight is appreciated. Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Not the butthole. Her bed is not your problem to solve, and destroying your food should not be her treatment. Her therapist should have specified that she should only crush her own food, not any food she sees owned by anyone else. You've been supportive, but it's fair for you to get angry about having your stuff destroyed and money wasted. If her self-control is so poor that she can't help destroying other people's food, then she needs to consider staying at a hotel or inpatient residential treatment options while she's in this stage. Not the butthole. Wasteful and destructive behavior should not be encouraged in therapy, especially if it's leading to her hiding the fact she's doing it. I don't think you should be leaping at kicking her out just yet. She does still need someone on her side. I recommend, as another commenter posted, perhaps separating your foods from common areas. Lockable mini fridge, cabinet, etc. Do not remove these things completely. That's not on you. She needs to learn that these temptations are going to be there for her in the real world, and she needs to learn to manage herself when she sees them or knows they are there. This is where I fit precisely. OP is in no way an asshole. However, Sis is really fighting for her life here. She deserves blowback for what she did, but the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Very few people are going to recover from any kind of eating disorder without family support. And that is going to include some pretty bad behavior at times, because it's so tied up in feelings of self-worth and self-loathing. The therapist who helped encourage this behavior needs to help find a way to rectify it. I would say a joint session with OWEB. Her sister and that therapist might be the best way to find solutions that work for everyone. But when I was living with somebody who was struggling with an eating disorder, it meant significant changes and sacrifices on the part of everybody in the house to keep them on the straight and narrow during that first really difficult part of their recovery. We didn't like it, but we did it. No. It is OP's home, which was kindly offered to the sister, who contributes nothing but feels entitled to smash food that doesn't belong to her, so now no one can eat. This is way past being a leech if the food is just being wasted. I feel for the sister, but this is not OP's job, and whatever people think OP should do seem to have been tried, and clearly isn't working. Sister goes to inpatient therapy or some moaning, blamey relative can take her in and facilitate this. Not the butthole for snapping. It's rude to disrespect someone else's home and belonging. Smashing food isn't going to solve her problems. I admit I don't know anything about treatment for bed, but this sounds like an odd way to go about it when you're a guest in someone else's home. I'd DK if I kick her out over it. Perhaps foods she can't have stay locked away in your room while you aren't home, as a compromise. There's got to be a better way than wasting someone else's money smashing food. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.